Hey everyone! Before we dive into this incredible story, drop a comment below and let me know where you're watching from. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button on your screen right now. You won't want to miss stories like this. Now, let's get into it. A janitor thinks he can fix this. Victoria Sterling's voice dripped with disgust as she gestured toward the sparking engine. Her diamond bracelet caught the boardroom lights as she dramatically covered her nose. God, you even smell like motor oil. Jamal Washington froze in the doorway, trash bags still clutched in his calloused hands. 20 executives stared at him like he was an unwelcome stray dog. Victoria stood up, her red Louboutin heels clicking against marble floors. She walked to Jamal, close enough that he could smell her expensive perfume mixed with contempt. "Here's a deal, maintenance boy," she sneered, snapping her fingers inches from his face. "Fix this $2 million engine that MIT engineers couldn't repair, and I'll marry you right here." She paused, letting her cruel smile spread across her face. "When you fail, and you will, security will escort you out permanently." The room fell silent. $50 million in contracts hung on this broken machine. Have you ever been dismissed so completely that someone bet their reputation you'd fail? The empire of glass and arrogance. Tech vanguard industries rose from Silicon Valley's concrete jungle like a glass monument to innovation. The 40-story tower housed America's most promising autonomous vehicle company, where billion-dollar dreams took shape in sterile laboratories and boardrooms that smelled of leather and ambition. Victoria Sterling had built this empire with ruthless precision. At 38, she commanded respect through fear. Her blonde hair always pulled into a perfect bun, her suits tailored to intimidate. The tech world called her a visionary. Her employees whispered different words behind closed doors. The company's crown jewel sat broken on the executive conference table, a revolutionary AI-guided engine designed to power their fleet of self-driving delivery trucks. This wasn't just any engine. It represented 3 years of development, 47 patents, and the engineering dreams of Silicon Valley's brightest minds. The machine could theoretically power autonomous vehicles with 93% efficiency, revolutionizing the delivery industry overnight. For 6 weeks, this machine had defied every attempt at repair. 3 separate teams of Ivy League engineers had failed. 67 diagnostic tests had yielded nothing but frustration and mounting pressure. The engine would start, run for exactly 14 minutes and 37 seconds, then overheat and shut down with the same cryptic error code, harmonic disruption detected. The invisible man with a gift. Jamal Washington knew every inch of Tech Vanguard's marble floors. For 3 years, he'd pushed his maintenance cart through these halls, invisible to the executives who stepped around him like furniture. His official title read technical consultant, but everyone knew the truth. He emptied trash cans, mopped floors, and endured the daily humiliation of being the most educated janitor in Silicon Valley. His community college engineering degree hung framed in his studio apartment, a bitter reminder of dreams deferred by medical bills and circumstances beyond his control. While his classmates had transferred to 4-year universities, Jamal had chosen sacrifice. His mother's cancer treatments came first. Always. The chemotherapy sessions cost $3,000 each. Insurance covered 60%. The math was simple and devastating. The pressure cooker explodes. The engine crisis deepened each day. Victoria's morning meetings grew louder, her demands more unreasonable. She paced the boardroom like a caged predator, her heels clicking against marble in sharp, angry rhythms that made interns flinch. $67 million, she screamed at the engineering team during Tuesday's disaster meeting. That's what we lose if this engine doesn't work by Friday. $67 million that could have bought us market dominance in 3 major cities. The engineers, Harvard, MIT, Stanford graduates, sat frozen in expensive suits, their laptops displaying the same error codes they'd been staring at for weeks. Their average salary exceeded $120,000 annually. Their combined student debt totaled over $2 million. None of that mattered now. Team leader Marcus Brooks, MIT class of 2019, had dark circles under his eyes that makeup couldn't hide. His team had tried everything: software patches, hardware replacements, complete system reinstalls. They'd consulted automotive engineers from Detroit, AI specialists from Stanford, even brought in a feng shui consultant after someone suggested the office energy might be interfering with the machine. Victoria's eye swept the room like searchlights, hunting for someone to blame. "Maybe we have too many people who don't belong here," she said, her gaze lingering on Jamal as he quietly replaced the water pitcher. "Dead weight that's dragging down our entire operation." The comment hit its mark. Several engineering team members glanced at Jamal, their expressions ranging from embarrassment to barely concealed agreement. Jamal pretended not to hear. He'd learned that invisibility was survival in this place. But his engineering mind couldn't stop analyzing the problem. Late at night, when he mopped the boardroom floors, he'd study the engine's blueprints left scattered on the table. The technical specifications told a story that the engineers seemed to miss. The engine was built in Germany using metric measurements, but the AI calibration software was developed in California using imperial units. A simple conversion error could create cascading problems. The reckoning arrives. The German investors arrived on Wednesday, their black Mercedes sedans pulling up to Tech Vanguard's entrance like a funeral procession. These men represented €100 million in potential funding, money that could launch the company into global dominance. Klaus Müller, CEO of Autotech Bavaria, had flown from Munich specifically to evaluate Tech Vanguard's engine technology. His reputation for technical perfectionism was legendary. Companies either impressed him completely or failed spectacularly. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, former Tesla engineer and current board advisor, accompanied the delegation. Her reputation in automotive engineering was legendary: 37 patents, consultant for every major manufacturer, and she didn't suffer fools. The demonstration was scheduled for Thursday afternoon. The entire company held its breath. But Thursday morning brought chaos. The final diagnostic test failed spectacularly, filling the boardroom with smoke and triggering the fire suppression system. Engineers stood dripping wet, their expensive laptops ruined, their reputations hanging by threads. Victoria convened an emergency all-hands meeting. 200 employees packed into the main auditorium, their faces reflecting various stages of panic and resignation. "Ladies and gentlemen," Victoria began, her voice steady despite the trembling in her hands. "We face our greatest challenge. Effective immediately, we will begin cost reduction measures. Non-essential personnel will be terminated." Her gaze swept across faces, hunting for someone to sacrifice. Her eyes lingered on Jamal with predatory interest. That's when Jamal made his mistake. He raised his hand. His voice carried clearly through the microphone-enhanced acoustics. "I think the problem might be in the harmonic frequency calibration, not the software integration." 200 heads turned toward him like sunflowers following light. Victoria's face transformed, surprise gave way to rage, then to something far more dangerous: opportunity. A cruel smile spread across her lips. Well, she said, her voice dripping with venom. "Our maintenance consultant has an opinion about advanced engineering." She stepped away from the podium, her heels clicking ominously. "Jamal Washington, isn't it? The man who empties our trash cans thinks he understands what 67 MIT and Harvard graduates couldn't solve." Nervous laughter rippled through the audience. "Since you're so confident," Victoria continued, her voice rising theatrically, "here's your chance to prove it. Fix our $2 million engine in front of everyone, our board, our investors, our entire company." She gestured toward the German delegation. "Here are the stakes, Jamal. You have exactly 2 hours to diagnose and repair what our MIT-trained engineers couldn't fix in 6 weeks. If you succeed, which we both know you won't, I'll personally promote you to senior engineering consultant." She paused for dramatic effect. "But when you fail, you're not just fired. You're banned from this building permanently. And I'll personally ensure that every tech company in Silicon Valley knows about your spectacular failure." The grandfather's legacy. What Victoria didn't know was the story that had shaped Jamal's hands. Detroit, 1995. 12-year-old Jamal pressed his face against the garage window, watching his grandfather work magic on a broken Mustang. Samuel Washington had been one of the first black foremen at Ford Motor Company, and his garage on 8 Mile Road was a cathedral of grease and steel. "Come here, boy," Samuel called. "Time you learned something useful." That summer changed everything. "Listen close," Samuel would say, placing Jamal's small hand on a running engine. "This machine's got a heartbeat. Feel that rhythm? 8,000 explosions per minute, all working in perfect harmony." The old man's philosophy was profound. "Son, an engine doesn't care about your diploma or your skin color. It only responds to those who truly listen to its heartbeat." By age 16, Jamal could tear down and rebuild entire engines blindfolded. When Samuel died during Jamal's senior year, a massive heart attack while working under the hood of a Cadillac, Jamal inherited more than tools. He inherited wisdom. 2 hours to prove everything. Dr. Rodriguez stood up suddenly, commanding attention. "I'll serve as technical witness," she announced. "This test requires neutral oversight." Klaus Müller nodded approvingly. "Excellent. Herr Washington, you have our complete attention." The auditorium erupted in whispered conversations. Victoria realized she'd lost control of the narrative, but it was too late to retreat. "Fine," she said tightly. "But we're live streaming this entire challenge on our company's social media accounts. Let the world see what happens when unqualified people attempt jobs beyond their capabilities." Within minutes, cameras were set up. The company's Instagram and LinkedIn accounts began broadcasting to thousands of followers. The crowd moved toward the executive floor, smartphones recording every step of this unprecedented corporate drama. The moment of truth. The executive boardroom transformed into an amphitheater of judgment. 200 employees pressed against the glass walls. The German investors arranged themselves like a tribunal. The broken engine dominated the conference table like a technological altar. Jamal approached slowly, placing both hands flat against the engine block, closing his eyes with the reverence of a musician tuning a precious instrument. 30 seconds stretched like hours. Then Jamal spoke. "It's fighting itself. The AI system is perfect, but it's trying to compensate for mechanical problems that shouldn't exist." He looked directly at Klaus Müller. "Sir, this engine was manufactured in Munich using metric specifications, correct?" "Correct. Our precision is to hundredths of millimeters." Jamal nodded. "But the AI calibration was programmed here in California, using imperial measurements." "That's the first problem." Victoria's confident expression flickered. "The AI is trying to control mechanical components that are 0.003 inches different from what it expects. It's like trying to conduct an orchestra when every instrument is tuned to a slightly different key." Dr. Rodriguez stepped forward, her engineering instincts fully engaged. "Explain the harmonic theory." Every engine has a natural frequency, the RPM range, where all components work in perfect synchronization. This engine was designed to operate at 3,400 revolutions per minute optimal efficiency. But the AI system was calibrated to expect imperial measurements, so it's trying to maintain a different harmonic frequency than what the mechanical components can deliver. He pointed to the oscilloscope. "See those irregular spikes at 14-minute intervals? That's the engine trying to find its natural rhythm while the AI forces it into an artificial pattern." Marcus Brooks, the MIT team leader, pushed through the crowd. "That's impossible. We tested harmonic frequencies extensively." "You tested the frequencies that the AI was programmed to expect," Jamal said respectfully. "But the actual mechanical components are singing a slightly different song." Klaus Müller exchanged glances with his associates. This wasn't rambling, this was sophisticated acoustic engineering analysis. The elegant solution. Jamal walked to a storage cabinet and selected what appeared to be a simple metal disc with carefully calculated perforations. "A harmonic dampener," he explained. "Instead of reprogramming the AI or remanufacturing components, we add this resonance buffer to bridge the frequency gap." Victoria's face went pale. You're suggesting a $50 part can solve a problem that's cost us 6 weeks and millions in consulting fees. Sometimes the most elegant engineering solutions are the simplest, Jamal replied. The AI and the engine are both perfect. They just need a translator to help them communicate effectively. He began installing the dampener with movements that spoke of years of mechanical experience. Dr. Rodriguez watched with professional fascination. Where did you learn harmonic resonance engineering? My grandfather taught me that engines have souls, Jamal said. You can't fix a soul with software updates. You have to listen to what it's trying to tell you, then help it find its natural rhythm. The installation took 12 minutes. Ready for testing, Jamal announced. The boardroom fell silent. The engine speaks. The ignition key turned. The engine awakened with a rumble that filled the space, but something was different. Immediately, unmistakably different. The harsh, irregular knocking was gone. In its place, a smooth purr, the sound of 8 cylinders firing in perfect synchronization. The diagnostic screens exploded with green indicators for the first time in 42 days. Mein Gott, Klaus Müller whispered. The engine is operating at 97.3% efficiency, 3 percentage points higher than theoretical maximum. Dr. Rodriguez moved between stations, her trained eyes absorbing the data. Oil pressure steady. Engine temperature holding at 187 degrees Fahrenheit. Harmonic frequency locked at 3,400 revolutions per minute with 0 deviation. She looked at Jamal with reverence. In 40 years of automotive engineering, I've never seen diagnostic readings this clean. Victoria demanded the full test. Can it actually power our autonomous vehicle systems? The engine's power flowed through transmission systems with the smoothness of water finding its level. The prototype delivery truck's lights illuminated. GPS systems activated. The vehicle began to move. For 37 minutes, the engine ran without a single irregularity. The dreaded 14-minute shutdown point passed without incident. Klaus Müller's assistant typed furiously, documenting performance metrics that exceeded every specification. Victoria's live stream had attracted over 50,000 viewers. Shut it down, Dr. Rodriguez finally commanded. We've seen enough. The engine settled into silence with the satisfied sigh of machinery that had finally found its purpose. The boardroom remained silent as the magnitude of what had just occurred settled into collective consciousness. 6 weeks of failure had been resolved in under 2 hours by someone whose official job description included emptying waste baskets. Justice served. Dr. Rodriguez extended her hand to Jamal with formal respect. That was extraordinary engineering intuition. Your solution was elegant, cost-effective, and brilliant. Klaus Müller approached next. Herr Washington, your diagnostic methodology impressed our entire delegation. This is the kind of innovative thinking that builds industrial partnerships. Then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. Based on this demonstration, Dr. Rodriguez announced, I'm making an immediate recommendation to the board. Jamal Washington has demonstrated exceptional capability that exceeds anything I've witnessed from traditional engineering teams. Klaus Müller checked his notes. Our delegation is prepared to increase our investment commitment by 20%, €20 million, specifically contingent on Mr. Washington leading our European engine development program. The boardroom erupted. Furthermore, Dr. Rodriguez continued, I'm offering immediate advancement to senior engine diagnostics engineer, effective immediately. The salary adjustment will reflect market value for someone with demonstrated expertise in advanced harmonic engineering. Victoria's live stream comments exploded with celebration. The hashtag #JamalWashington began trending as automotive engineers worldwide discussed the technical brilliance they'd just witnessed. Marcus Brooks stepped forward. Our entire team formally apologizes for overlooking your insights. We request collaboration on future projects. The transformation was complete. The fall from grace. The board's investigation moved swiftly. Victoria's email history provided damning evidence of discriminatory practices, messages referring to Jamal as the cleaning guy, deliberate scheduling of his janitorial duties during investor meetings, documented discussions about his inevitable termination. 2 weeks later, consequences crystallized. Victoria was demoted from CEO to strategic advisor, her salary reduced by 40%, her decision-making authority eliminated. The diversity and inclusion training requirement felt particularly poetic. Her trainer was Dr. Rodriguez. Meanwhile, Jamal's promotion came with a 150% salary increase, stock options, and leadership of a task force on inclusive innovation practices. Tech Vanguard stock price rose 15% following the positive publicity. Recruitment applications increased by 40%. 3 months later, Victoria approached Jamal privately in the cafeteria. "I owe you an apology," she said quietly, genuine remorse in her voice. "And I'd like to ask for guidance about building more inclusive leadership practices." Jamal looked at her with grace. "Everyone deserves a chance to grow, Victoria. The question is whether you're ready to listen with the same attention you'd give to a machine that needs repair." The legacy continues. 6 months later, Jamal Washington stood in Tech Vanguard's expanded engineering facility, watching German technicians install equipment for the European production line. His designs now powered delivery trucks across Munich, Frankfurt, and Berlin. The framed community college diploma still hung in his apartment, but now it shared wall space with patents, industry awards, and a photograph of him shaking hands with Klaus Müller at the Munich Auto Show. His grandfather's garage wisdom had evolved into million-dollar engineering decisions that bridged continents. Your turn. Sometimes the most powerful expertise comes wrapped in the most unexpected packages. The question isn't who has the degrees, it's who has the dedication to truly understand the problem. If this story inspired you to look beyond assumptions and recognize hidden talent, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Have you ever witnessed someone's potential being completely overlooked? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might become our next viral story of justice and recognition. And here's a challenge: there's a detail only sharp-eyed viewers will notice that reveals Victoria's true character. Watch again and tell us what you spotted. Drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from.